Hello and welcome to this video. We are all aware of the cutoff numbers that have been established in the DV 2024 program for the month of May 2024. We saw that from the visa bulletin that was released on last Friday. Now, what those cutoff numbers have done is they have established fear in the minds of so many diversity visa applicants. And that is the case because of two reasons. The first reason is that most applicants expected the cutoff number for their region to go beyond where they were actually established for the month of May. And then in addition to that, from the questions that I have been receiving, it's like someone has already established what they believe will be the final cutoff numbers in the DV 2024 program. And accordingly, that was based on the DV 2024 SEAC data. Now, let me say something. The SEAC data, or the data of a DV program, is not the only factor that determines the final cutoff numbers of that program. There are other factors that could override the data, and we have seen that time and again. So anyone who limits himself to the data of the program to determine what the final cutoff numbers will be have one of three problems. The first problem that such a person could have is that they may be new to the diversity visa program. The second problem that such a person may have is that they base their reasoning more on theory than on what happens in practice. And if that is not the case, then such a person does not learn from past experience. So it is either one of those three problems that such a person who bases their reasoning only on the data has. Now, I spoke about other factors that could play a part in determining the final cutoff numbers in the diversity visa program. So let me introduce you to two of those factors. The first of those factors that could influence the final cutoff numbers in the diversity visa program is the approach that is taken by those who are in charge of running the program. Now, what am I saying? Data in the diversity visa program is important. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the data of the program is not important. It is important. But in case those who are running the program have a certain approach, that approach is going to override what the data is suggesting. And we have seen that over and again in the diversity visa program. A notable instance was the end of the DV 2023 program, when the data was showing that we had reached the 55,000 visas to be issued out. Those who were running the program were still sending out interview notifications to applicants. Was it the right thing to do? No, it was not the right thing to do, but it was what was done. So not always what the data suggests, not always what should happen ends up happening. Sometimes the approach that is being applied by those who are running the program could overrun what should happen, could overrun what the data are suggesting. That is one thing that you must get clear as a diversity visa applicant. Another factor that could influence the final cutoff numbers in the diversity visa program is policy. The movement in the diversity visa cutoff numbers are a very effective way of implementing policy. Let's take this example. In case the State Department wants a certain number of applicants to be interviewed at a certain time during the fiscal year, they don't have to go through any difficulty. They will simply play with the numbers, play with the cutoff number of the region concerned, and they get what they want. If, for example, they want to reduce the number of applicants from a specific region, all they need to do will be to keep the cutoff number of that region low. At the end of the day, many applicants from that region will not be interviewed, and that policy will be implemented. Their goal will be achieved. And on the other hand, in case they want a high number of applicants from a certain region, all they need to do is to push the numbers further. They are going to get so many applicants current, and those applicants will end up being interviewed and they get what they want. And so, considering only the data to draw conclusions as it relates to the final cutoff numbers in the diversity visa program is not an effective way of getting to know the final cutoff numbers. Any of those other factors could overrun what the data is saying, and what will happen will not be in line with what the data suggested originally. That is why I spoke about learning from past experience. In case you have been following the diversity visa program, you will realize that the data is not the only factor that affects the determination of the final cutoff number. Now, there is another reason why you cannot wholly rely on the data in the current context of the diversity visa program when it comes to determining the final cutoff number in this year's program. In the next video, I'm going to expose that other reason to you. But this was just to say to you that data in the current context of the diversity visa program is not the only factor that could influence the determination of the final cutoff number. So look out for that other video in which I'm going to expose the next reason why you cannot wholly rely on data in the current context of the diversity visa program. And with that, we've come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching it. See you, God willing, very soon in the next one. Goodbye.